I'm about to meet with a client who, first of all, client, if this sounds like you, I love you. And this is not a punishment. This is a great example of how we are well meaning in thinking that we are eating a diet that is healthy and are inadvertently actually exposing ourselves to things that are super inflammatory that are going to contribute to symptoms like moodiness, like cravings, like skin breakouts, like inability to lose weight. So this client is somebody who worked with me in my group program, the Balanced Cortisol Academy, which helps you rebalance your cortisol levels because a lot of you are under the impression you have high cortisol when actually you sometimes have low cortisol, or a lot of you think you have low cortisol but don't realize that in order to have lower cortisol, you have to have gone through a period of time where you had high cortisol. And essentially, a lot of people on here are just approaching cortisol all wrong. So the group program is all about how do you need to eat, how do you need to exercise, how do you need to work on your mindset and your nervous system in order to balance your cortisol and your stress and reduce your cravings. So this client started with me there and has now gone into some one-on-one work with me. And she has a number of goals, including working on reducing some autoimmune health issues, increasing her thyroid health, and also losing weight. And I gave her macros to follow and also taught her about the dietary approach that would be beneficial for her body in the group program, and also just continuing that in our one-on-one work. And yet, apparently I did not teach her well. And again, I don't mean that as shade. I think it's really important to work with somebody and let them see truly what you're eating. I think it's really brave and I think it's really scary. And I've been having her keep a food journal for me. And what I'm noticing is a couple of key things that are inhibiting her progress, and also going to be making autoimmune things worse, but also going to make weight loss very challenging for her. Let me know if any of these sound like you. So one, she is eating fast food 2 to 4 times per week. There's no world in which fast food is good for us metabolically, autoimmune related, health wise. And especially, she is breaking a lot of the recommendations and rules that I've given her, but most importantly, she's breaking the one related to consuming gluten and highly processed foods. Highly processed foods are made in such a way that they literally tell your body to hang on to body fat. We don't want to do that. And gluten is really problematic. I've made a ton of videos about it, so go check those out. Next, she is consuming a lot of prepared foods like egg beaters, like meatless sausage, which neither of those are things I've ever recommended to a client, nor have I recommended them to her. And the problem with both of those, one, egg beaters, super highly processed, contain all kinds of things that are problematic. But the other piece is that we've got 2 foods, and many of those kinds of foods that contain a lot of soy. And soy is a great way to mess up your hormones, especially if you're in your cycling years. It's a great way to put gas on the fire that is an estrogen imbalance. And if you have any kind of autoimmune situation going on, like Hashimoto's, or concern about something like Hashimoto's because you have something going on with your thyroid, really you want to be avoiding soy. But as women, we should be avoiding highly processed soy foods, period. It's why so many women end up with things like fatigue and bloating and moodiness and skin issues and all of these issues after they've spent a long time being vegetarian and eating a lot of these highly processed foods that contain soy. So moral of the story is what you need to be focusing the vast majority of your diet on, 90% plus, again, depends on your goals, but I would say at least 90% is real whole foods. If you need convenience foods, then you're doing things like organic sliced turkey, where you can read the ingredients and see exactly what they are, and there's nothing strange there. You're doing things like an organic rotisserie chicken, again, where you can see the ingredients, nothing strange there. You're doing something like frozen veggies, like cauli rice, like frozen broccoli, that you then can cook with a little bit of butter and enjoy. You're doing things like baked potatoes instead of fast food French fries. You're doing things like, instead of some kind of protein bar, you're making a homemade protein mug cake with all ingredients that you can control and recognize and know. And I know there are a crap ton of creators out there putting out recipes with these ultra processed milks that are higher protein, with these kind of meatless products. You have to stop paying attention to those things. You have to get away from that. I teach this whole method of how to eat, especially if you're really in the throes of a lot of fatigue and moodiness and bloating and sleep issues and skin stuff, and your hair is falling out, inside the Balanced Hormone Blueprint. It's my self-paced course. As soon as you sign up, you get access to everything. This course has changed over 100 women's lives across the world, and you can jump in and join us now through the link in my bio. So check that out if you want help with what you're eating and guidance from me.